evening, sports fans. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for this lecture 3 of the Cricket South Africa Level 2 umpiring course hosted by Western Province Cricket Umpires Association. My name is Abdullah Steenkamp, and for tonight's lecture, I am flying solo. My usual co-pilot will not be joining us this evening. Tom will be with us again for tomorrow evening's lecture. And the format of tonight's lecture is as follows. I will cover laws 19 up until 25. After that, I will then go to the chat box, see if there are any comments or questions. I'll then answer those. And then after that, I will open the floor for any further questions related to today's laws. Also, please don't forget, tomorrow evening, we'll kick off the lecture with an elite umpire joining us at 1800 hours South African time. We only have him for 30 minutes. Prepare your questions, and as soon as we get started, I will open the floor and you can ask him any of your umpiring related questions. Also tonight, there will be two videos, quiz videos. I'll play them, and I want you, the umpires, to make your decisions and put those decisions in the chat box. And in my Q&A session, I will then look at your answers and I will then give the answers to those two quiz videos. And again, the lectures are based on the laws of cricket. And also the level 2 exam is not like the level 1 where there were lots of multiple choice questions or true and false questions. There's lots of writing that needs to be done in the level 2 exam, and content that we going to cover tonight, and all the other content. If you study them, you should pass the exam easily. So kicking off tonight's lecture, let's start with law number 19. And we're not covering the whole of the law. We're only covering certain subsections. So under law 19, there are two subsections that we're covering here. The first one is when there is an obstacle in the field of play, like rugby poles, soccer poles, you often find that at school grounds where different sporting codes share the same facilities. If that is the case, please, before the game starts, if you do have fixed rugby poles or football poles inside the field of play, speak to the home captain, ask them, how do you deal with, or what is the custom for handling if the ball while in play should go against the rugby or football poles? And then once that is determined, inform the scorers. So now everyone then knows exactly if the ball should hit the football poles, how it will be dealt with. Also, if a person, animal, or object comes onto the field of play, law guides us how we need to handle this. And law tells us that it is for you, the umpires, you need to decide whether you feel that if it was not for the intervention of this person, animal, or object, the ball would have gone for a boundary 4. The law gives you the power to say, I will allow the boundary 4 because if it was not for the intervention by the, let's say, animal, and I'll use let's say a dog as an example, if the ball gets hit quite hard to the boundary, the dog then runs onto the field of play, and then intercepts the ball, let's say a few meters from the boundary, but the ball was traveling quite quickly towards the boundary, you as the umpires, you can decide, yes, if it was not for the intervention of the dog, that ball would have actually gone over the boundary. So the law gives you the power to actually signal boundary four, even though technically it did not go over the boundary, but if it was not for the intervention of the dog, it would have gone over. So you have the power to signal boundary four. It's a decision for the two umpires to make. If in doubt, you can discuss it. And if the two of you feel, yes, it would have gone over the boundary, if it was not for the intervention, signal boundary four. If you feel like it was trickling slowly towards the boundary, I don't think it would have gone over, then you have the right not to allow the boundary. Last subsection under law 19 that I'm covering is, what happens if there is an overthrow or a willful act, and because of this overthrow or willful act, the ball actually goes over the boundary? In the next two slides, I do have two videos that will show you what happens if there was an overthrow and how to handle it, and also what happens, and it doesn't happen that often, this willful act. And because of a willful act, the ball actually goes over the boundary. But if there is a willful act and it goes over the boundary, how to deal with it? So firstly, if because of the overthrow or the willful act, the ball goes over the boundary, how will runs be scored? If there was a no ball or a wide, those no ball wide will stand. Those penalties will stand. Secondly, you will allow the allowance for the boundary. Typically, overthrow, goes past the stumps, backup fielder misses it, and it goes over the boundary. That allowance for that boundary four will be added to the score. And then lastly, runs completed by the batters also to count, including the run that the batters are with, or the runs that they're busy with, the run in progress. But importantly, they need to have crossed at the instant when the throw came in, or at the instant when the willful act happened. So you need to, this judgment point is, you need to check where the batters are when. So what is the instant of the throw? The instant of the throw is when the ball is in the bowler, in the fielder's hands or hand, and the instant that the fielder throws it and releases the ball, that is seen in the law as the instant of the throw, and that is where you need to judge where are these two batters. Did they cross in this run that they're busy with, or did they not cross? And if they did cross, that run will count. And if they did not cross, then the run that they're busy with will not count. Practically, please work together as a team. It happens quickly on the field. So discuss it amongst each other just to make 100% sure where the batters were at the instant when the throw came in, or at the instant of a willful act. So this is how you deal with if there was an overthrow or a willful act, and because of this overthrow or willful act, the ball actually went over the boundary. So let's look at our first video, and this is an overthrow that happens, and you'll hear the narrator. The narrator will explain to you exactly. You now know the theory, so the narrator will take us through how many runs should have been given in this video.
Hello and welcome to the Cricket Digest channel. World Cup final match saw one of the most thrilling finish ever witnessed in an ODI match. However, an overthrow in the 50th over of England innings has sparked the debate. A throw from Martin Guptill deflected after hitting Ben Stokes, who was diving to save his wicket, and the ball crossed the boundary line. Many people were confused about how an overthrow is valid after the ball touches the batsman. Point to be considered here is everyone in the field, including the batsman and the umpires, are considered as part of the play, and the fielding side has to take this into consideration. Hence, the ball getting deflected from either a batsman or an umpire will not be called a dead ball. However, if a batsman makes deliberate contact with the ball, or if he deliberately comes in the way of a throw, then the ball will be immediately called dead and the batsman will be given out, obstructing the field. But in the case of Ben Stokes, he had come in the way of throw, but he did not do it deliberately. He was running hard to save his wicket and he did not make deliberate contact with the ball either. It looks unfair to the fielding side in this case, but one should also take into consideration that catching after the ball hits either an umpire or a batsman is valid. Hence, allowing overthrow was well within the laws of the game. But there was a mistake committed by the umpires in this incident. They awarded 6 runs, whereas only 5 runs should have been awarded. According to Cricket Law 19.8, if the boundary results from an overthrow or from the willful act of a fielder, then the runs scored shall be allowance for the boundary, which is 4 runs in this case, and the runs completed by the batsman plus the run in progress if the batsman had already crossed at the instant of the throw. Ben Stokes and Adil Rashid had completed the first run, but they had not crossed for the second run at the instant of the throw. Hence, only 1 run should have been awarded for running, and in total 5 runs should have been awarded. Law further states that if the batsman had not crossed at the instant of the throw, then they should be sent to the end they have left. Meaning, in this case, Adil Rashid should have been sent to the striker's end and Ben Stokes should have been sent to the non-striking end for next delivery. If this law was applied properly, then the New Zealand team would have had a good chance to win the World Cup. Do you feel any different? Do let us know in the comment section. Hello and welcome.
So that is an overthrow and the practical application as per the law, how to deal with it and the correct amount of runs to be scored. The next video is how to deal with a willful act. Doesn't happen that often, but if there is a willful act and because of this willful act, a boundary results from it, you will deal with it exactly the same. The boundary to count, runs for penalties like a no ball to count, and runs completed to count, and the run in progress if they crossed when the act happened. So let's have a look at the video and see what the boundary fielder did with the ball.
Started at 15:39. Calls for a single, but the Indians want the ball to go to the boundary. And it will not reach there, will it? Yes, it does. Just has it. Oh, he pushes it over. And signals boundary, 284 for 9, and it'll bring... interesting here. Will that be 5, Robin?
I think so. I think if you're seen to deliberately kick the ball over. And I think that's what Steve Davis is checking now.
South Africa won't mind this. This is time being wasted. These are crucial moments. 5 signal because he's kicked over. The ends will change. Tony starts altering the field. Started.
Next law, dead ball. Only 2 subsections that we're covering here is, the first subsection is, when is the ball automatically seen dead as per the law? And then second subsection, when do the umpires, either of them, need to call and signal dead ball? Let's first start with when the ball is automatically dead. There are 8 instances. Let's go through them. Firstly, as soon as the ball finally settled in the hands of the keeper or the bowler, and it's for the umpires, they need to make that judgment call when the ball is finally settled in the hands of the keeper. This is the first instance where the ball is automatically dead as soon as it's finally settled. As soon as a boundary is scored, whether it's boundary 4, boundary 6, ball automatically dead. As soon as a batter is dismissed, ball automatically dead. As soon as a ball, whether played or not, it gets trapped between the bat and person of the batter or between items of his or her clothing or equipment. If a ball played or not, it lodges in the clothing or equipment of a batter or the clothing of the umpire. There are some of these laws. Lots of players, they don't know the laws. So good umpiring technique is, if especially 4 and 5 happens, please intervene as umpires by calling and signaling dead ball. You'll see I have a video in the next slide. You'll see international cricketers not knowing this law. So again, good umpiring technique for number 4 and 5. Intervene by just calling and signaling dead ball. That's all you did. Yes, the law says it's automatically dead, but you're calling it just to inform the players that the ball is dead, and anything that happens as soon as that ball is dead is irrelevant. If there was an award of penalty runs, if a player returned without permission, or if there was illegal fielding, ball also automatically dead as soon as the illegal fielding happened or the player that returned without permission touched the ball. Penultimate one, the helmet that was placed by the fielding side behind the keeper while the ball is in play and the ball touched the helmet, ball automatically becomes dead. And lastly, as soon as the game is done, as soon as a result is reached, the ball automatically becomes dead. 8 instances where the ball automatically becomes dead. This is a very favorite exam question. Remember, it's not multiple choice. They might ask you to give 8 instances where the ball automatically becomes dead. So I'm giving you an exam tip. Study them. Here's an example of where you'll see in this international match, players not knowing the law. Let's have a look at it.
For a comedian. So
there the ball gets trapped or lodged in the pad of the batter. So the law tells us as soon as that ball lodges in the pad, the ball automatically becomes dead. Players, they didn't know it. That batter still thought the ball was alive. He didn't want the fielder to catch it. But the ball automatically became dead as soon as that ball lodged in the pad of the batter. So it can be lodges in the clothing or equipment of the batter or clothing of an umpire.
for a comedian.
Let's now move on to when either umpire needs to call and signal dead ball. And this calling and signaling of dead ball is to inform the umpire, the players, and as soon as the call is made, the ball is then dead. So firstly, if you decide to go intervene in case there were unfair play on the field, before going to intervene, please call and signal dead ball. Because as soon as you utter those words, nothing can happen after that. The ball is dead. If there is a serious injury to a player or an umpire, call and signal dead ball immediately. And the emphasis is on serious injury to a player or an umpire. It's a judgment call that you need to make. You need to look at the injury and you need to make that judgment call. Yes, it is serious. If it is, intervene immediately by calling and signaling dead ball. So as soon as you make that call, anything that happens after that is irrelevant. If you think it's not too serious, then it's your call. You don't have to call and signal dead ball, but make that judgment call. And if it's a serious one, call it. If you, the umpire, decides that you want to consult your colleague, please, before going to consult, call and signal dead ball. Then collect the ball and then consult with your colleague. Don't just walk over to your colleague. Players might think the ball is still alive and might try to do things, might try to run out players. If you need to consult your colleague, that maybe was in a better position to see whether the ball carried or not to, let's say, the keeper or first slip as an example. Before walking to your strikers in, call and signal dead ball. Soon as you utter those words, ball is dead. Anything that happens after that is irrelevant. If one or both bails falls from the striker's wicket, and emphasis on striker's wicket, before the striker had opportunity to play at the ball, umpire needs to call and signal dead ball. Yes, the striker's in umpire is in a better position to make this call. There's nothing stopping the bowler's in umpire calling it, but usually striker's in is in a better position. So if one or both bails falls from the striker's in, before the striker's opportunity, call and signal dead ball. Also call and signal dead ball if the striker's not ready for the ball. And let's say the ball is delivered, striker makes no attempt to play at the ball. If that is the case, call and signal dead ball. Umpires, you need to be satisfied that the batter had a good reason for not being ready. But if batter not ready and doesn't play at the ball, you can call and signal dead ball. If a striker gets distracted by any noise or movement or in any way while preparing to receive a delivery, call and signal dead ball. Someone walking in front of the side screen while the bowler is running in. That's an example of the striker getting distracted by the movement behind the bowler's arm. Striker not ready, call and signal a dead ball. The other day I had a bird, low flying bird, just as the bowler was about to release the ball, the bird flew right past the striker. Striker was distracted. I intervened by calling and signaling dead ball. Under Law 41, there are two subsections there. If there's a deliberate attempt to distract the striker, or if there was a deliberate distraction, deception, or obstruction of the batter. If any of these two subsections happens under Law 41, you, the umpires, you need to intervene by calling and signaling dead ball. If before the bowler delivers the ball, he or she accidentally drops it, call and signal dead ball. If for whatever reason the bowler, while running in and before entering his or her delivery stride, the bowler decides to throw the ball at the striker's end, emphasis on striker's end, and if the bowler throws it at the striker's end, you need to intervene by calling and signaling dead ball. If the ball, for whatever reason, does not leave the bowler's hand, other than if the bowler is trying to run out a non-striker, and if that is the case, if the bowler keeps hold of the ball, doesn't deliver it, call and signal dead ball. If you, the umpires, are satisfied that the ball, while in play, cannot be recovered, call and signal dead ball. The law also gives you the power that if you, the umpires, consider that, let's say, a person or animal or object came onto the field of play, and because of this person, animal or object interfering with the ball, touching the ball, and this may have disadvantaged either side, doesn't always have to be the batters, you can intervene by calling and signaling dead ball. The law wants the striker, whenever the striker to play at the ball, the striker should always have part of his or her person, whether grounded or raised, to be on the pitch. Strikers not allowed to leave the pitch to play at the ball. If the striker do leave the pitch to play at the ball, please intervene. How do you intervene? By calling and signaling dead ball. And lastly, you need to call and signal dead ball if there are instances that's not included under the 13 points above. If it happens, you need to call and signal dead ball. Under law 23, we're gonna see an example of 20.14 when leg by is not to be awarded. There is an instance where the umpires needs to intervene. We'll get there later on, but I'm just mentioning it. That's an example. It's not covered here, but you need to intervene as soon as something happens, and that's under law 23 when we're going to deal with leg buys not to be awarded. But we'll get there later on. So here's our first course question. So I want you to look at the video, and in the chat box, you the umpire, I want you to make the call. Are you going to give the bowler the striker out ball, or are you going to go in dead ball? Let's have a look at the video.
What's going on here?
Not much, indeed, if anything at all. That is the end of the innings. It's a good delivery from Kyle Abbott.
Oh, what's going on here?
Looks like Bashir isn't walking off. We will be able to have another look at it.
Bashir points at something. Ah, yeah, it did, yeah. You're right.
So in the chat box, giving the striker out ball, or is this a dead ball?
No ball.
It's a no ball. And would you believe it?
Kyle Abbott would have been on a hat-trick.
What's going on?
I'll answer it. I'll give you the answer when we get to our Q&A session later on. Next law is no ball law. A few subsections that we're covering here. The first of them is, what happens if a bowler breaks the wicket in delivering the ball? The law tells us either umpire to call and signal no ball if the bowler breaks the wicket at any time after the ball comes into play and before completing the stride or after the delivery stride. Also, if any clothing or object falls from the bowler and it falls onto the wicket and put a bail or both bails on the floor, law also tells us you need to call and signal no ball. So if the bowler breaks, put the wicket down at the bowler's end with his or her foot, arm, leg, any part of the body, you need to call and signal no ball. Or if any clothing or object falls from the bowler and falls onto the wicket and put the wicket down, also need to call and signal no ball. What happens if a ball bounces more than once, or a ball that was delivered rolls along the ground? How do we deal with it? Either umpire needs to call and signal no ball if a ball bounces more than once before it gets to the popping crease, or a ball that was delivered rolls along the ground before reaching the popping crease. And lastly, if a ball pitches either totally or partially off the pitch before reaching the line of the striker's wicket, before reaching the bowling crease, if that happens, you need to call and signal no ball. For the first two bullet points, the striker's in umpire is in the best position to make this call. You see as a side-on view, and it's so much easier for him or her to make the call in the first two bullet points. The third bullet point, the bowler's in has a much better view. It's got a front-on view to check whether the ball pitched wholly or partially off the pitch. strikers in can assist the bowlers in for bullet point 3, just to double check, did the ball pitch off the pitch before the striker's wicket or after the striker's wicket? Because if it's before the striker's wicket, here the law tells us you need to call and signal no ball. So what happens if the ball that was delivered and the striker then leave the pitch to play at the ball, or the ball that was delivered rolls slowly towards the striker and actually comes to a standstill before the striker's wicket? What do we need to do? The law tells us there's two things that we need to do. We need to intervene by calling and signaling no ball and dead ball. So these two signals, they are made quickly after each other. There's no pause. You make the no ball call, and a split second or a second later you make the dead ball call. It's like no ball, dead ball. So you intervene if a ball that was delivered is now off the pitch and the striker now goes off the pitch to play at the ball. Intervene, please, by calling and signaling no ball, dead ball. If the ball was delivered and it comes to rest, comes to a standstill in front of the striker's wicket, please intervene by calling and signaling no ball and dead ball. Lastly, under the no ball, or penultimate one, no ball not to count as one for the over, so the ball needs to be rebowled. And how can you be dismissed of a no ball? There are in total 9 modes of dismissals. To be dismissed of a no ball, only 3 of those modes applicable. So as soon as no ball is called, you can only be dismissed in the following ways: hit the ball twice, obstructing the field, and lastly, run out. Only these 3 modes, as soon as no ball is called, how you can be dismissed. So that's why if a no ball is called, you cannot be bowled, cannot be caught, cannot be out hit wicket, cannot be LBW, just to name a few. These are the only 3 ways to be dismissed of a no ball. Let's move on. Let's go to wide. Okay, before we get to wide, I actually have a quick question. Our second one for the evening. Okay, I want you to look at the video. It happened in the World Cup in 2024. South Africa played the USA. And what I want you to take note of is, you'll first see that a back foot no ball was bowled. TV umpire had a look at it. TV umpire confirmed it's a back foot no ball. Then the next ball was a free hit. And I want you to look at the free hit. And after looking at the free hit, I want you to in the chat box put down, let's say there was an appeal on this ball. If you were the third umpire, would you have given the striker out stumped, run out, or would you have gone not out? So that's just a bit of background, but let's look at the video. But I want you to focus on the free hit ball.
Checking back foot, stand by.
Bring it up for me. Take it from before he lands. Right, bring it down now. Bring it down.
I've got a no ball on the back foot, a no ball. You're on screen, yeah, thanks.
So here comes the free hit ball. Just have a look what happens now to Kuni. So if this was sent up to the TV umpire, what would your decision be in the chat box? I'll just play that last part again to see what Connie did on the free hit ball. I'll just play it again. So remember, let's say you were the TV umpire and it gets sent up to you to have a look. Have a look again. Look what Connie does. So if you were the TV and you had to make a call, would you say stumped or run out or not out? Next, wide ball. Only a few subsections that I'm focusing on the wide ball. Firstly, when it comes to judging a wide, and don't get confused, we're covering the laws of cricket. So please don't get confused how a wide is judged in T20 cricket or 50 over cricket. There are playing conditions that covers it. This is in more day cricket, like test match cricket, according to the law, how you need to judge a wide. So the criteria that we need to take into account is, when judging a wide, striker standing in a normal batting position and the ball passes wide of the striker. So that's the guidelines that the lawmakers give us. Striker in a normal batting position and the ball passes wide. Then the law further elaborate on what is considered as passing wide of the striker. So the law tells us, if the ball passes wide of the striker and the striker is not able to hit the ball by the means of a normal cricket shot, the normal cut, pull, cover drive, just to name 3 examples. Those are 3 normal cricket shots. So if the ball is wide of the striker and he or she is not able to hit it by the means of a normal cricket shot, the law sees that as the ball passing wide of the striker, and you need to call and signal wide ball. Yes, it is a judgment call. You need to look at the situation. You need to ask yourself, do I think the ball is wide of the striker and he was not able to hit it by the means of a normal cricket shot? Call and signal wide. If you say, no, I think the striker could have hit that ball with a normal cricket shot, then don't call and signal wide. In terms of calling and signaling wide, please don't be in a hurry to call and signal wide. Wait till the ball passes the striker's wicket. And only once it passes the striker's wicket, then you call and signal wide. Early in my umpiring career, I had a bit of egg on my face. I was too in a hurry to call and signal wide. Spinner bowling, it was fairly wide and I was quick to call it, but the batter late cut it to fine leg. And as I'm calling and signaling wide, the ball hit the middle of the bat and went down to the third man boundary for 4. Yeah, but an egg on my face, but I was too in a hurry to call it. No, wait till it passes the striker's wicket, and if there's no contact with the bat or person, then call and signal wide. Technically, we now know when to call it, but the law sees the ball technically to be wide already as soon as the bowler entered his or her delivery stride. So that's technically when it's wide, when the bowler enters a delivery stride. But in terms of verbally calling and signaling it, please wait till the ball passes the striker's wicket. Wide also, as soon as you call wide, that ball needs to be rebowled. And then lastly, under the wide law, as soon as wide is called, how can you be dismissed? So in total, there are 9 modes of dismissals. So as soon as wide is called, you can only be dismissed in 4 ways. What are those 4 ways? Hit wicket is 1. Obstructing the field is the second one. Third one is run out. And lastly, 4th is stumped. So of the 9 modes of dismissals, These are the only 4 ways that you can be dismissed as soon as wide is uttered by the umpire. Next one, buys and leg buys. Only 2 subsections I'm covering here. Firstly, buys. What conditions needs to be in place for buys to be allowed? And then I'm also going to look at leg buys. But let's start with buys. So what conditions needs to be in place, and when will you allow buys? So there is only one condition when it comes to buys. Ball should not have touched the bat or any part of the person. If it did not touch the bat or any part of the person, and it goes, let's say, past the keeper, the batters are allowed to run. Irrelevant whether a shot is played or not, that's not one of the conditions when it comes to buys. The only question that you need to ask yourself is if you're going to allow buys or not. Did the ball touch the bat or person? If no, buys to be allowed, they can run. Don't need to worry about no shot was played. Even if I didn't play a shot, but the ball did not touch the bat or person of the striker, no issue. They can run. Only condition is it should not have touched the bat or person. And if that is the case, they can run buys. Even if a no ball was bowled, that no ball to count, the buys will also count. So that's the condition for buys. When it comes to leg buys, we'll now see what the conditions of leg buys are. And here you'll see, here is a condition where you need to take into account whether a shot was played or not. But we'll get there now. So when it comes to judging whether you'll allow leg buys or not. So firstly, the ball needs to strike any part of the person of the striker or the protective equipment of the striker. So any part of the person, yes, I know they call it leg buys, and I would say probably 95% of the time it hits the leg. But the law allows for the ball to strike the tummy, the shoulder, any part, the arm, any part of the person. If it strikes any part of the person or the protective equipment, like it strikes the helmet, leg buys can be scored, but there are 2 conditions that needs to be met. And what are those 2 conditions? They are, and here's where it comes in. For leg buys to be awarded, there needs to be an attempt to play at the ball. Striker needs to attempt to play a shot. And this is where if they don't play a shot and it hits the pad and it ricochets, but we'll get to it in the next slide when we'll not allow leg buys. But for now, I just want us to focus when we will allow leg buys. And leg buys to be allowed if the ball strikes any part of the person, whether it's the pad, the arm, the back, the helmet. But the 2 conditions that needs to be met, either the batter needs to have tried to play at the ball with the bat or try to avoid being hit by the ball. If these 2 conditions are met and the ball strikes the person or protective equipment, you can allow leg buys. Absolutely no problem. If the delivery was a no ball, you'll allow for the no ball. The no ball will be to the score as well as the leg buys. So now we know when leg buys to be awarded. Let's have a look at when we will not allow leg buys. So the umpires do not allow leg buys if the umpires feel that the striker did not try to play at the ball. Or another way to put it, no shot offered. Or the striker did not try to avoid being hit by the ball. If this is the case, there was no shot, didn't try to avoid being hit by the ball, then now the law tells us we should not be allowing the leg byes. Leg byes can only be allowed if it struck the person and there was either the striker tried to play at the ball or tried to avoid being hit by the ball. No issue, will allow it. But if they didn't try to play at the ball, if they didn't try to avoid being hit by the ball, you should not be allowing those leg byes. So now we know if there was no shot, just as an example, leg byes do not be awarded. So you'll often find a striker don't play a shot, hits the pad, it goes down to, let's say, fine leg. 9 out of 10 times the batters will run. But now we know that the striker didn't play a shot. Ball ricochet to fine leg and now the batters run. But I've just said technically this leg bye should not be awarded. Yeah, you're right. But the law guides us and law tells us when to intervene. And here's another example. We didn't cover it earlier under the dead ball, but here's another example of when you need to intervene by calling and signaling dead ball. So in my example, and I'm now going to give you the timing of when to intervene as an umpire when there was no attempt to play at the ball, hits the pad, they run. So when to intervene. So just visualize my example. Bowler delivers, batter shoulders arms, don't play a shot. It hits the pad and the ball ricochets to fine leg. And the batters decide to run. 99% players say, umpire, no shot, no shot. So players would want you to call dead ball immediately. But no, the law guides us and tell us there is a certain point that you need to wait for before you intervene by calling and signaling dead ball. And what you need to wait for? So you won't call dead ball immediately. You need to wait for either, let's say if the ball hits the pad and it ricochets to fine leg and it goes over the boundary. If it goes over the boundary, now you can intervene and say, players, dead ball, dead ball. Or you need to intervene at the completion of the first run. That's where you need to intervene. So the ball, in my example, and this happens almost every single game, ball hits the pad, no shot, ricochets to fine leg, and they now run. Players say, umpire, dead ball. You won't intervene yet. The law tells us when to intervene. You first need to wait till the batters completed that first run. So the striker needs to get behind the popping crease at the non-striker's end, and the non-striker needs to get behind the popping crease at the striker's end. So as soon as that first run is completed, that's where you intervene. And how do you intervene? By calling and signaling dead ball. So why do you intervene only once they've completed the first run? The law allows the fielding side an opportunity to run out either of these batters. It's not the fielding side's fault that the batters don't know the law and that you're not allowed to run if the striker didn't attempt to play at the ball, if there was no shot. So it's not the fielding side's fault if the two batters don't know the law and stupid and they do decide to run. So if either of those batters in that first run is a run out, that run out to count. The ball only becomes dead when that first run is completed. So now let's go back to my example. First run is now completed. You now know this is where you intervene and you call and signal dead ball loudly. Say, dead ball players, dead ball, no shot. So what else do you now need to do? Let's have a look. Law guides us. Law tells us. Firstly, you need to disallow the runs. We've just said if no shot was offered, leg bye is not to be awarded. So in my example, the single that they took, we only intervened when they completed that single, that first run. But that run, not to count. We need to disallow that one run. Then we need to send the batters back to their ends. That striker, we need to tell him or her, Batter, please go back. You no shot. We're not allowing this run. The ball is dead. You need to go back to the striker's end, and the non-striker now needs to come back to the bowler's end. If there was a no ball or a wide, that will, sorry, if there was a no ball, that will be applicable. Award any 5 penalty runs as applicable. There's one exception, and that exception is if the ball should hit the protective helmet belonging to the fielding side. So these are the additional things that the bowlers in umpire needs to do when leg byes are not to be awarded. The penultimate law that I'm covering, and it's what happens if, and I'm only going to focus on the main subsection here is the fielder's absence. What happens if a fielder is absent or a fielder leaves the field of play? How do we deal with it? Let's go through the law, and I'll bring in a bit of practicality as well. So if a fielder, and this happens for every single game, I can't remember when last I had a game where a fielder did not need to go off. For whatever reason, they always need to go off. So if a fielder do decide or need to go off, absolutely no issue. If a fielder comes to you and say, umpire, I need my hamstring to be looked at, it feels a bit tight. No issue, that fielder comes to you. The fielder needs to tell you why you see is going off. So in my example, umpire, I need to have my hamstring looked at. Okay, no problem, fielder. What you'll do is you'll take out your notebook as the umpire. You write down the fielder's name. Let's say, let's use Cindy as an example. So I'll write down Cindy. And then, importantly, you need to write down the time that Cindy left. And the reason why Cindy left. So in your notebook, you just write Cindy, hamstring, time left the field. I'll just use an example, 10:30. So that's what you need to write down. Then, and what I usually do practically is, just before the player leaves, I tell that player, please tell me when you come back. I need to know when you come back onto the field. I will tell the fielding captain as well, please tell either of the umpires when the injured player comes back. And we'll see now in point 3 why it's important that you do need to know when that player comes back. So practically what will happen, as soon as the player went off, got some treatment to the hammy, physio looked at it, fielder is now ready to come back. Fielder stands on the boundary. Usually what happens, fielder will wave or shout, umpire, I'm ready to come on. You'll then allow the fielder to come back on. It's important that fielder gets either of the umpire's consent. Why do we need to know when the fielder's back? We need to write down the time that the fielder came back. And we'll see in point 3 why it's important to know the time that the fielder came back. So let's use in my example, and I'll just use round numbers just for illustrative purposes. So in point 1, Cindy left at 10:30 to have a hamstring looked at. At 11 o'clock, Cindy stands on the boundary and wave, umpire, I'm ready to come back on. You nod and say, no problem, Cindy, you may come back. You take out your notebook and you write down, Cindy returned 11 o'clock. Then what you need to do is, you now need to calculate how long Cindy was off the field. Why is that important? This is a concept in the law known as penalty time. So what is this concept of penalty time? It's playing time that a player is not on the field of play. So why is this important? A player needs to wait the same amount of time that player was off before he or she is allowed to bowl. I'll give you a practical example just to show you, to illustrate how this works. So players used to abuse this law before it was tightened by the lawmakers. They used to abuse it. They used to fake injuries just to go off, to put their feet up, to go rest in the dressing room. So players abuse this, faking injuries, going off just to have a rest. Okay, so the lawmakers tighten it. So now they saying, if a player comes to you saying he or she is injured, we'll allow it. We'll allow the player to go off to get treatment. But that player, before he or she is allowed to bowl again, and we'll see later again, batters also, they also need to serve their penalty time. But we'll get to batters in the next law. But we're now focusing on the fielders. So if a fielder, so in my example, Cindy left at 10:30 and Cindy came back at 11 o'clock. So how long was Cindy off? 30 minutes. So as soon as Cindy returns, we the umpires, we will tell Cindy, you were off for 30 minutes. You are only allowed to bowl again 30 minutes later, which is at 11:30. So Cindy first need to field for 30 minutes before she's allowed to bowl. So I will tell that to Cindy, and I will let Cindy's captain know as well that she needs to wait half an hour before she is allowed to bowl. According to the law, there is a max penalty time of 90 minutes that a player needs to serve. So a player doesn't have to wait longer than 90 minutes before he or she is allowed to bowl again. Just a quick example to illustrate this. Let's say Cindy leaves at 11 o'clock and only returns at 4 o'clock the afternoon. So yes, Cindy was off for like 3-4 hours. Does she have to wait 3-4 hours before she can bowl again? No, the law say there's a max penalty time of 90 minutes. So if Cindy returns at 4 o'clock, and the captain and you will then go to Cindy and say, Cindy, you need to wait 90 minutes before you're allowed to bowl. I'll tell that to the fielding captain as well, so Cindy can bowl again at 17:30. So this is how the lawmakers tighten this law by yes, we'll allow players to go off to get treatment, but they cannot go sit, put their feet up, come back and bowl immediately. They need to serve the penalty time. Penalty time doesn't disappear. The balance is carried forward. In modern cricket, it's carried forward into the next day. It's carried forward into the next innings. Lots of players think, today's day one, I can be off at the end of the day for an hour and tomorrow morning I can bowl immediately. No. You need to wait the next morning for that same amount of time that you were off. It gets carried forward into the next day. Yes, you won't carry it forward into the next game, but while this game is in progress, penalty time will be carried forward. We will add up all your penalty time. You'll often find players going on and off, on and off. We will add up all that playing time that you were not on the field. And we will let you know when you can bowl. Scheduled intervals like just two examples, your lunch and your tea. I mean, there's more examples of scheduled intervals, but scheduled intervals, that time you won't add it to any penalty time that a player owes, nor will you subtract it from any penalty time that a player owes. I mentioned earlier, penalty time to be carried forward into the next and subsequent days and into a next innings. There are instances where penalty time will not have to be served, penalty time not to be incurred. Firstly, if a player suffered an external blow during the match and had to leave the field, but it must be an external blow. I'll give you two examples. Short leg fielder, under the helmet, spinner ball, short ball, striker pulls it into the knee of the short leg fielder. Short leg fielder goes down, knees busy swelling up. First, Short leg fielder asks you, umpire, can I please go off? I need to go see the physio. I need to get some ice on my swollen knee. So this is an example of an external blow that happened where the ball went against the player's knee. External blow. So if this happens, and let's say the player was off for an hour to get treatment to the knee. So now let's say this happened at, I was using round numbers for illustrative purposes. Player left at 10:30 and came back at 11:30. So now the captain comes to you, umpire, when can my player bowl? I know he was off for an hour. Your answer to that question will be, your player can bowl immediately. And you'll say, captain will say, like, why, umpire? And you'll say, because the player suffered an external blow. The ball went against the knee, so player didn't try to cheat or lie, or we saw it happen, saw the ball went against the knee. So because of this, the law allows for no penalty time to be served. Another example, it's not always just have to be ball against knee. You can have an example of ball gets hit into the air, the bowler settles under it, and let's say the mid-off fielder also wants to take the catch. And no one is shouting or calling for it. And while they're trying to take the catch, they run into each other. This is another example of an external blow with two bodies, came together, external blow. And if one of those players asks you to go off to get some treatment, let's say to his or her ribs, and was off for half an hour and comes back, that player can bowl immediately because this is an example of an external blow. Lastly, penalty time also not to be incurred if the player was not on the field for a wholly acceptable reason, but it needs to be a wholly acceptable reason. If this is the case, no penalty time to be served. The last law that I'm covering, before I go over to Q&A, I'll first look at the questions in the chat box, and then I'll look at the hands in the room. Earlier I mentioned that if a fielder, the previous law spoke about fielders going off and having to serve penalty time. Same principle will apply to batters. Batters also used to abuse this law, especially those opening bats. They know the side is 8 or 9 down. They know they're going to bat soon. Now they'll fake an injury to go off. They'll say, umpire, oh, my hamstring, can I go off to get treatment? Meanwhile, there's nothing wrong with the hammy. They just want to go put their feet up, knowing they batting soon because the side is 8 or 9 or 9 down. So now, similarly, batters also needs to serve that penalty time. So if a batter was off for, the opening bat was off for an hour, then there's now an innings change. Before that opening bat is allowed to bat, EOC needs to wait for 60 minutes before they can bat. There is a but. And that but is, the law allows for, if 5 quick wickets falls, let's say the opening bowler takes a hat-trick, and in the second over, the other one takes 2. So last side is like 10 for 5 in this, let's say the third or fourth over, and this is like 12, 15 minutes later. And then if the opening bat owes 60 minutes, this is an example where the law say, okay, you lost 5 quick wickets. In this instance, we'll allow that opening bat, even though UC might still owe time, whether let's say they owe still another 45 minutes, but the law allows for that batter to come in. But the side must have lost 5 wickets. If there was an unscheduled stoppage like rain, we can only offset or subtract that unscheduled stoppage from time that a batter owes as soon as that batter personally informs the umpire. And then lastly, the striker always have a right to play at the ball. Striker is allowed to protect his or her wicket in terms of a legitimate second strike, to to stop the ball from rolling onto the stumps. Strikers are allowed to play at the ball without interference from the keeper or any other fielder. There is a but. So yes, the law allows for the striker to play at the ball. Striker has the right. But the law wants the striker to remain on the pitch. Those days of strikers going off the pitch is not allowed anymore. It used to be allowed 5-10 years ago, but the law was tweaked. Law does not allow the striker to go off the pitch anymore. The law wants some part of the striker's bat or person, whether grounded or raised, to remain on the pitch. So the striker can only play at the ball if the striker has some part of the bat or person on the pitch. If there's no part of the striker's person or bat on the pitch, please, you need to intervene as an umpire. The striker goes off the pitch to play at the ball, please intervene. And how do we intervene? We intervene by calling and signaling dead ball. Thank you so much. That is all content that I'm covering this evening. I'm first going to go to the chat box and I will have a look at any questions that's in the chat box. And then I'm going to go to the floor to see if there are any hands. Okay, let's start with Kevin. Kev ask, will the level 2 exam be open book? No, Kevin. This is a closed book exam. So you will not be allowed to have any books, any material with you when writing this exam. Let's go to the next one. Okay, Varma, there's a YouTube video. I'll get back to it later on. Let me first look at the other questions. Just give me I'll get back to that video. Sundar, in the Amala Sewak video, correct decision is total 5 runs to be scored, correct? So Sundar, yes, 5 runs was given. And the reason 5 runs was given is the instant when Sewak kicked the ball over the ropes, they completed only 1 run. They were busy with the 1 run, and that's why only that 1 run was added together with the boundary, because Sewak kicked it over the boundary, and that's why 5 runs in total were added to the score. 4 for the boundary, and the 1 run that they complete. So yes, 5 was scored. And yes, in the scorebook, I see you say Cricket Info had it as 1 run and 5 penalty runs. No, it should have been, I'm not sure who hit it. I think it was Amla. Should be 6 runs added to Amla's score. I think Cricket Info thought it was a penalty. And no, it's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. It is it's a willful act. And how we deal with a willful act, we deal with take the boundary, we add the runs, and in this case it was 5 runs in total, 4 for the boundary and 1 run that they completed. I hear some background noise. Can you please mute your microphone? Next one. How many minutes or seconds would the ball be in the hands of the keeper before it's finally settled? This is a call that the umpires needs to make. The umpires needs to decide when the ball is finally settled. So nowhere in the law does it say it needs to be 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds. You need to look at the situation and you need to make that judgment call. yes, I think that ball is finally settled, or no, I don't think that ball is finally settled. It is a judgment call, and it can differ from umpire to umpire. You'll find sometimes 10 umpires looking at the same video, and some would say, I think the ball is finally settled, and others would say, I don't think it's settled. It is a judgment call. You need to look at it and make that judgment call. Yes, I think it's finally settled. Then the ball is dead. Or no, I don't think it's finally settled. So the ball is still alive. So there's no minutes, seconds. It is your judgment call that you need to make as the umpire. Next, when the ball settles in the hands of the keeper, it becomes dead. Can then the batter or keeper run the batter if the batter is outside his or her ground? So as soon as the ball settled in the hands of the keeper, and you, the umpire, is satisfied that the ball is finally settled, and we've covered it under the dead ball, as soon as the ball is finally settled, the ball is then automatically dead. So nothing that happens after that is relevant. So in your example, and it's first where you need to make that judgment call. Yes, the ball is finally settled. So that means ball dead. So run out, not to count. Or if you think, I don't think that ball is finally settled. I think that ball is still alive. And if you think it's still alive and thrown at the stumps and batters outside the ground, batter to be given a run out. It is a judgment call. You need to make that judgment call by looking at the situation and deciding, yes, it's dead. Sorry, yes, it's finally settled, i.e. then dead, or no, it's not finally settled, still alive, and then you'll allow the run out. Okay. Then we get to your answers. There was, it was the first video. So just give me a second. I am going to go to that video and I'm going to play it again. It was our first question, and then I'll take us all through it. So just give me a second. Let me just share my screen again and take us slowly through the video.
What's going on here?
Okay,
Not
so
much.
when we get to the
Indeed,
view
if anything
behind the
at all.
bowler, from
That
the
is the
keeper's
end of the
viewpoint, we'll
innings.
get to
It's
that
a
camera
good
angle
delivery
later on.
from Kyle
You,
Abbott.
Oh, what's going on here?
you'll see clearly what
Looks
happens
like
and why
Bashir
I say
isn't walking
that this
off.
should be not out and it
We
should
will
be
be
a
able to have
dead
another
ball.
look at it.
Bashir
So what
paused at
happens?
something.
Kyle Ball delivered the ball,
Oh,
but
yeah,
can
it
you
did,
see
yeah.
there
You're
the
right.
towel? Just look at the towel,
Looks
the
like
white towel that fell
Bashir
out of
isn't walking
Carl's
off.
or the bowler's
We
side,
will be able to have another look at it.
and
Bashir
that
points at
towel
something.
distracted,
Ah,
that
yeah, it
fell
did, yeah.
distracted
You're
the
right.
batter.
His towel has
So
fallen
under law
out of his
20,
back pocket,
it says if a
which
batter is
means
It's a no
distracted
it's a no ball.
by
And would you
any
believe it?
Kyle Abbott would have been
movement
on a
or
hat
any
trick.
way while preparing to receive a delivery, you need to call and signal dead ball. The batter was distracted by that towel that fell out of the bowler's hip. And that is why the correct answer to this is, it is not out, dead ball, or dead ball, not out. Batter was distracted by the towel that fell, hence not out, dead ball. Okay, let's move on in the chat box. Okay, next question. Lisan, when you call and signal no ball for breaking the wicket, will it count as one run for the over? Will it have to be bowled again? And will it be a free hit? So as soon as a no ball is bowled, the law tells us no ball is not to count as one of the legal balls of the over. And as soon as no ball is called, one run will be added to the score. So yes, it will be one run in the over. And yes, the ball will have to be rebowled because a no ball is not one of the valid balls of the over. And then will it be a free hit depending on the competition that you're playing or the format that you're playing? If you are playing T20 and 50 over cricket, yes, part of the playing condition. Free hit is not a law. It is a playing condition that that the governing bodies added to T20 and 50 over cricket. So if there is a no ball, a free hit follows the next delivery. But if it was more-day cricket like a test match, free hits are not part of more-day cricket. It's not part of test match cricket. So if it was a test match, it will only be 1 run for the no ball. Ball needs to be rebowled, but no free hit to be given because free hits are not part of test match or more-day cricket. Next one, I see there's lots. Was the next question about Coney the cock, whether Coney is out or not out. We'll go to that video now. Just give me a second. I'll go to that video and we'll have a look at it. I'll share my screen. Okay, so let's wait for this is now the ball. So that's boundary 4. Let's go to
Checking back foot, stand by.
For the free hit.
Bring it up.
Just wait for the free hit ball.
Take it from before he lands. Right, bring it down now. Bring it down.
So now
I've got a no ball on the back foot, a no ball.
In T20 and 50 over cricket, there's a playing condition that covers free hits. So if a no ball is bowled, the next delivery is a free hit. And also part of the playing condition is, of the free hit ball, the only modes of dismissals that are allowed are runouts, obstructing the field, and hit the ball twice. This is the only 3 modes or only 3 ways how you can be dismissed if the delivery is a free hit. So we're now going to look at the free hit delivery. So now remember, there's only 3 ways that you can be dismissed according to the playing condition that governs free hits in T20 and 50 over cricket. So the only way you can be dismissed is run out, obstructing the field, or hit the ball twice. So let's look at the free hit delivery and see what happens. So here's the free hit ball coming up. So let's have a look at what Coney does. He misses the ball. So now the question is, can you be stumped off a free hit? We'll have a look at it again. Can you be stumped off a free hit? No, you cannot be stumped. Why? I just said there's only 3 ways that you can be dismissed. Hit the ball twice, run out, or obstructing the field. So stumping is not one of them. So Coney cannot be stumped. So now, so let's see if those 3 ways that you can be dismissed. Let's see if we're dealing with one of them. So now let's look at what Coney does. Do you think Coney is trying to take a run? So we know Coney cannot be stumped. But my question to you is, do you think Coney is trying to take a run? If your answer to that question is yes, I think Coney is trying to take a run, that means Coney is activating the run out law here, and Coney can be given out run out. If you say, I don't think Coney is trying to take a run, that means he's not taking a run, so he then cannot be stumped. So that is the $1 million question that you need to ask yourself. Is he trying to take a run? So look at what Coney does. Look at it slowly. He misses the ball. He then take like a step and a half forward and then see, oh shit, then he turned back. Do you think that's Coney trying to take a run? If I was the TV umpire here and I had to make a call, I would give Coney out, run out. Because my interpretation or how I see this is, I think Coney is trying to take a run. And then realize, oh shit, I should not be running here. Let me turn back. So just look at it. He takes a step and a half trying to run and he realized, oops, let me not run. Let me turn back. I'm giving you my opinion. It is how you interpret looking at this. If you think Kwon is trying to take a run, or you think Kwon is not trying to take a run, and I think Kwon is trying to take a run. I would give Kwon out, run out. That's my interpretation of the visuals that I'm seeing. Next one. Wicketkeeper standing up to the stumps when the fast bowler delivered the ball and the umpire calls no ball. So no run was taken. So the same striker faced the free hit. Can the wicketkeeper move back to a normal distance for the free hit? So the again we for this exam we're covering the laws of cricket, and free hits are not part of the laws of cricket. So in your exam, don't worry, there won't be any questions on free hits. But free hits is part of T20 and 50 over cricket, and we do get fed a big diet of 50 and 20 over cricket. So it's lots of it on TV. So part of the playing conditions that governs free hit is that it says if for the free delivery the same striker is facing the free delivery, no field changes are allowed. That is what the playing condition states. No field changes are allowed. So now, in your question, with the keeper standing up, the playing condition does not allow the keeper to move back. Keeper needs to stay in his or her normal stand, wherever they were standing. The keeper was standing up, keeper needs to stay up. Not allowed to move back. What I will allow is if the keeper standing up, okay, but these days you must put on a helmet if you are standing up. But if the keeper wanted a helmet, back in the days, the playing condition didn't gave the option to the keeper to put on a helmet or not. But these days, if you're standing up, you must put on a helmet. But anyway, to answer your question, no, keeper needs to stay where he or she was. Karthik is saying video was pausing a bit. Looked like the cock made one step together, run out. So there is a case for a run out. That's how I see it, Karthik. I see Kwani took a step and a half. He wanted to run and then realized, oh, shit, let me turn back here. I would have, I was TV umpire, I would have given Kwani out, run out. In this video, there was no appeal from the fielding side. Kwani continued batting. It was not sent up to the TV umpire. But if I was TV and that was sent up to me, I would have given Kwani out, run out. Because I think he took a step. Umelo, close catcher, fielding with a helmet, both on short mid-wicket and short cover. Walks in towards batter while the fast bowler is in delivery mood. Should we call it no ball immediately or have a soft talk after the delivery? So Pomelo, close catches needs to stay stationary. They're not allowed to move. If I do see movement of those close fielders, and I'm now talking about taking steps forward, I'm not talking about movement where you'll find as the bowler runs in, the short leg fielder, let's say it's up straight and now they're crouching down in a crouch position. That is still okay. But if they move any forward or sideways, you need to intervene there. And if I see the forward movement by short leg fielders, I would intervene, and by intervening by calling and signaling dead ball. It's not a no ball. You intervene by calling and signaling dead ball. And then I'll tell the fielders, please, you short leg, you are not allowed to move. You need to remain stationary if you are short mid-wicket or short cover. Next question, Pomelo. Fielder leaving the field of play. He got injured while outside, bumped into something or slip or twist his ankle. Will the replacement be allowed, or will it only be a runner out? So Pomelo, I'm not sure if you ask whether a player can be totally replaced. So let's say player A got injured, and now the captain asks you, can player B replace player A because player A is now twisted his or her ankle and can't participate in the game anymore. So if you are saying a replacement player, the law allows for a replacement player. But there is a condition. The opposing captain needs to say yes or no for a player to be replaced. If that captain says no, I don't give permission for this player to be replaced, unfortunately you cannot replace the player with player B. If the player says yes, then you can. So if the player, if the captain says no, I'm not happy to replace, you can then, player can get treatment. You can allow a substitute, but that substitute, you're asking about the runners being allowed or not. In the laws, they still allow for runners, but these days in 99% of competitions across the world, they do not allow for runners anymore. But under the laws of cricket, it actually still makes provision for runners. So if you're asking me, can we allow a runner for the injured fielder? Yes, the law still allows for runners. Please explain legitimate second strike of a batter. This is a batter trying to protect his or her wicket. So let's say the bowler delivers, the batter plays forward. The ball then starts rolling slowly towards the stump. So the batter blocked the ball, but there was a bit of spin on the ball, and the ball is now coming back to the stumps. So now the law allows the batter to hit the ball a second time to protect his or her wicket, but only to protect the wicket. That's when that is allowed. So that is what is meant by a legitimate, a legal second strike as per the law. And the second strike is with the ball rolling towards the stumps. The law allows for that batter to hit the ball away to protect his or her wicket. So Yamin, if the striker tries to save his wicket, the ball to hit, but accident his feet to his wicket and bails fall out, that is out hit wicket, Yamin. If you're trying to protect your wicket, trying to hit the ball, but in that action, either your bat put the wicket down or your feet put the wicket down, is in the motion of trying to protect the wicket, should be given out hit wicket. Kartik. I'm not sure
What's the
the link.
scorecard for Sehwag and Hasim Amla incident?
Okay.
You can
Yeah,
ignore.
okay. Yeah, I think they, scorecard, they definitely got it wrong. Only 5 runs was allowed. You saw Steve David signaled 5 runs to the scorers. So that 5 run was made up 4 for the boundary and 1 for the run that they completed.
Yeah, thank you.
Ritwik, just give me a second. Let me just. So a right-handed batter faces an off-spinner. Ball is delivered legally and pitches on the offside of the pitch on a crack, then tipped soundly down the leg side. The batter leaves the ball and it passes the batter and collected by the keeper leg side. Should the delivery be called a wide? Concerning sharp term. So Ritwik, depending on the format, if it was, let's say, a test match, all you need to ask yourself is, Was the batter, and we've covered why this evening, and the criteria that you need to make to use to judging a wide. Is the batter able to hit the ball by the means of a normal cricket shot? If yes, fair delivery. If no, you need to call and signal wide. So that's the criteria that you need to take into account. You don't take into account whether there are cracks and it sharply turns. It is unfortunate. If I can use T20 or 50 over cricket as an example, we know in 50 over cricket or T20, anything down leg is wide. So in your example, let's say the ball pitch outside off and it hit the crack, and because of the crack, it spun sharply and goes down the leg side. So what should you do as an umpire in this example? Remember, this is now, let's say it's a T20 game, and we know anything down leg is wide. Unfortunately, you have to call and signal wide ball. Playing condition tell us anything down leg should be called wide, or 99.9% of things should be called wide. Yes, it is unfortunate. Yes, it did a crack, but it's just unfortunate for the bowler. The ball went down leg. So we call and signal wide if it was a T20 or 50 over game. Another question, Yamin, full toss, height, how to judge? So Yamin, the striker's in umpire needs to own the score. He or she is in the best position to make the score. You have a side on view. So 99.999% striker, please own, strikers in umpire, please own this call. It's your call to make. You in the best position to make your call. There are instances where, and I'll get to it later on, but as I said to you, 99.9 strikers in, own this call, make this call. How to judge? We get guided by the playing condition. So the playing condition tell us if the batter standing upright at the popping crease, if the ball is above waist height, standing upright at the popping crease, you need to call and signal no ball. So your judgment point is batter, that batter that's batting at the moment, standing upright at the popping crease. Yes, it will differ from batter to batter. You will have a Temba Bavuma. So Temba's waist will be much lower than a Marco Jansen's waist. So if Temba's batting, you need to judge using Temba's height and where Temba's waist is. And if the ball was above Temba's, if Temba was facing and the ball was above Temba's waist, standing upright at the popping crease, that's your judgment call. You need to call and signal no ball. If Marco Jansen is facing, you need to judge where Marco's waist is. And it obviously will be much higher than where Temba was. So judge Marco's height, waist. And if it's above Marco's waist, standing upright at the popping crease, you need to call and signal no ball. So judgment point at the popping crease, above waist height. It do sometimes become difficult if batters do double step to get to the pitch of the ball, and now it's let's say waist height. Those are difficult calls, but you need to make a call. But you apply the playing condition. The playing condition states batter standing upright at the popping crease. So even if a batter double steps, you need to try to visualize or ask yourself the question, if the batter was standing upright at the popping crease, I know he or she is, let's say, 1.5 meters down the pitch. But I know the playing conditions tells us I need to judge at the popping crease. So do I think if that batter was standing at the popping crease, it would have been above waist? If your answer to that question is yes, you go no ball. If you think, no, man, I don't think it would have been above waist height if that batter was standing at the popping crease, then go fair delivery. I know it's difficult. It's a quick second decision that you need to make, but that's the question that you need to ask yourself. And the judgment point, batter standing upright at the popping crease. So that's how you judge. you need to or try to watch the ball from the bowler's hand. Don't look at the striker, watch the bowler, look at the hand, follow the hand out, the ball out the hand, and as it comes towards the striker. Don't not look at the bowler and try to look at the striker and see if it pass. Maybe under 11s you can pick up the flight, but the higher you go, the quicker the bowlers, that ball will fly past you if you're not watching it out the hand. Lastly, on this full toss height, yeah, I mean 99%, 99.9. I said strikers in, umpire needs to own that call. There are times where the bowlers in, umpire can call it. Either umpire can call it, but 99% I want strikers in to own it. You in the best position. But you can find at times where strikers in might lose the ball. There might be background, let's say a red ball, and there's some red in the background. Strikers in at times can lose the ball. If you do see as bowlers in, and you can see the body language of strikers in, if you see lost the flight of the ball, and if you do see them strikers in lost the flight, please, you can then call and signal no ball. If it's, let's say, full toss and it's head height, and your partner didn't, strikers in didn't pick it up, you can't sit back and say, it's not my call. Strikers in didn't call it, so I'm not too bothered. No, if it's obvious and strikers in didn't pick it up, please, bowlers in, call it. But that's only the 1%. The other 99%, please, strikers in, own that call. Cindy, can we get the slides? It is, yes, the slides were made available. It is in the email that Tom sent. It's that very first email that Tom sent. That is where you can download the slides. Go to that email. Go to the email that Tom sent today, the reminder email. Just double check if the slides are on there. If not, Tom will be back tomorrow evening. You just bring this question up again. Just ask Tom. You're not able to get the slides. If Tom can just resend it. So Sandeep, what's the difference between illness and injury? So Sandeep, illness usually, let's say, tummy ache, upset, tummy. That's a kind of a illness. Injury are usually groin, hammy, quad, injured my back. Those are just a few examples of injury, and illness are usually, tummy ache and those type of things. So how do we define external and internal? We get guided by the law, Sandeep, about external injury. So external is, there needs to be an external blow that happened. As soon as an external blow happened, we see it as an external injury. All the others are internal. So that is your judgment, external blow. And if yes, it would be seen as an external injury. On what cases we as umpire not count penalty time? I've covered it tonight, Sandeep. If it's an external injury, no penalty time to be served, or a wholly acceptable reason, no penalty time to be served. Kartik, if the wicketkeeper attempt to run, then the wicketkeeper can, if the striker attempt to run, keeper can run him out. Yes, as soon as the striker decides to run, and in my opinion, if you are referring to the Quinton de Kock scenario, I think Quinny tried to run. And I would have given Quinny, if that was sent up to me and I was TV, I would have given Quinny out the run out, because I think he tried to run. And he then brought a run out law into the game, and you can be run out off a free hit. Is one of the modes of dismissals. So Karthik also agree with me. Yeah, it's your opinion. I do know there are some people that say Kwani didn't attempt to run. I know there were umpires that feels he didn't attempt to run. It's your judgment call. You need to make that call. My interpretation, my looking at the video, I think Kwani tried to run. That's why I'm giving him out. If you're looking at and you say I don't think Kwani tried to run, then Kwani would then be not out because you cannot be stumped of a free hit. Karthik, is there any protocol that the on-field umpire send the referral to the third umpire saying to check for stumping? Then the third umpire selected to only check the stumping, or he can also opinion and make decision for run out. So yes, the TV umpire has got powers. So even if the TV, even if that was sent up for stumping, and TV umpire then sees, okay, it's not a stumping, but I think there was an attempt to run. TV umpire can give the striker out, run out. Your hands are not tied when it comes to checking stumpings or run out. Yes, there are other DRS protocols in place when it comes to mode of dismissals. What are you allowed to check and what are you not allowed to check? I don't want to go into detail of those, but there are sometimes instances where you're not allowed to check certain things, but that's under the DRS protocols. We're not covering that in this in this course. So Yamin, how to adjust the wide for leg spinner? Ball in pitching inside goes move to wide line. I'm trying to visualize what you're asking, Yamin. How to judge the wide for leg spinner ball in pitching inside goes. I mean, I'm not able to visualize what you're saying. If you can retap your question, or in the when I go to the hands in the room, if you can unmute your mic and then ask your questions. So Karthik is giving his 2 cents about illnesses, fever, headaches. Yeah, those are all illnesses, and injuries or hammies, groins, muscles, back. Yeah, agree with you. Ritwik, thanks for answering my question and clarifying my doubt. Thank you for this insightful session. Okay, you're welcome, Ritwik. Sakil, World Cup final. Don't remind me. Don't open that wound again, Sakil. Oh, I almost cried that day. We were so close. Yeah, let's. The call was made by the TV umpire. It was a correct call. Yeah, it is. I support the call that the TV umpire made on that day. So I was happy with the call, Sakil. Heartbroken, but I support the TV umpire. So Cindy, Karthik confirmed that the slides were shared by Tom via a link in an email for 11-2 candidates. So it's either that first email or the second email. You'll find that link on there. Just double check, Cindy. If you're not able to, sometimes links do expire. If it is the case, tomorrow evening, Tom will be on. Just put in the chat box saying, Tom, I tried to download it using the link in your first email, not able to download the slides. Can you please repost a new link? And then you'll be able to download the slides. So Yamin, as an umpire, any condition allow us to leave or pray? So Yamin, we do have intervals, and that's where I do my mid-afternoon prayers and my late afternoon prayers in the lunch and the tea times. So that's where I do my prayers. Abi, player rips his shirt and needs to go off the field of play to change his shirt. Will a substitute be given? So Abi, that is seen as equipment change. I'll allow it. There's a reason why. I mean, you don't want a player to to feel with a torn shirt. Similarly, let's say your boot rips open, and your boot, I'll allow a player to go off to get some new boots on. Similarly, for batters, if the bat breaks, we'll allow a new bat to be, to come on. So if there is failure of equipment, like in your example, the shirt rips, I've absolutely no issue. It's not fair on the player to say, player, you need to stay on the field with this torn shirt. You can only change it later. I'll allow that player to go off. It will probably literally only be off for and over when he or she comes back with a new shirt on. So La Rochelle, but then on the other hand, is it not only known as a run when the runners cross each other? No, La Rochelle. A run starts as soon as that batter takes his or her first step, to take the run. That's technically when that run starts. It doesn't. It's not when it crosses. When they crosses, it's not when they make good the ends at their respective ends in taking the single. As soon as there's a indication of they want to take the run, they take that first step. That's when that run starts. So Sakil is saying, please tell your heart, Mullen not out. Sakil, let's just put that pain to bed. I've put it to bed. I don't want to open it again. Yeah, so yeah, congratulations to India. They won the World Cup in 24. Yes, my heart was broken, but congratulations to India. I don't see any more questions in the chat box. Let's now go to the floor. I'm sure I saw hands earlier. I'm sure I saw Rifat's hand raised, but I don't see it anymore. So Rifat, you up first, then Ali, then Muhammad Sakur. So let's start with Rifat. I saw your hand raised 6 o'clock already.
Thank you, Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, my brother. How are you?
I'm fine. Abdullah, I want to know that in level 2 there is a lot of laws we have to memorize. I also know the laws. For example, towel drop down the bowlers. It will be dead ball. I know it will be dead ball before when I understand the cricket. So I know as usual this law, but there is a many other law I don't know to understand in my book, laws book. Is there any video or practical videos to make the law understand? Suppose there is many of 14 items calling a silent dead ball. I can written 5 or 5, 6 or 7, but other I cannot understand. Is there any practical videos?
No, we don't have any practical videos to explain every single. That's why we try to explain verbally what the law is trying to say. Yes, I know English is also not my first language, and there are times where I also struggled with interpretation of certain wording and what they are trying to say. So what I do is I do go to people where English is their first language. If I do struggle with an interpretation, I go to someone like I go to Alaudin Palika, and I ask Palis, just help me with the interpretation of this playing condition or this clause. This is what I'm reading. This is my understanding of it. English is not my first language. This is how I understand it. Is this a correct interpretation or not? And then Palis will then say, yes, Abdullah, your understanding is correct, or no, Abdullah, it actually means, or this is how you need to interpret it. So that's my advice to you. If you do have find things that you don't understand, or that you do need a better interpretation, a better help, you can go to someone. That's why I always advise umpires to have a mentor. So Alaudin is one of my mentors, and if I don't understand something or need clarity, I do go to my mentors just to give me some guidance. So if you do have a mentor, go to your mentor and ask your mentor, I need this bit of clarity on interpretation of this, and I'm sure your mentor should be able to help you with getting clarity on a law or laws that you might not understand. And what helps, what for me it helps is now I help lots of um, lots of my pupils is I try to put the law in layman terms, and then try to, for them, I say, close your eyes, try to visualize if we don't have a video. I know with a video, it's so much easy to understand, but they can't have videos for every single law. So if I do have someone coming to me and say, I don't understand this, so what I do is I'll try to put the law in layman or simple English, and I then tell them, close your eyes. This is what they're trying to say. Try to visualize this, and that helps. And that helps in my pupils understanding the law and what they're asking.
Yes. Thank you, Tom. So thank you, Abdullah. I'll take more time. I have another question
Yeah, yeah.
on
I'll,
leg.
I'll I'll come back to you. Let me first give the others opportunity. I said Ali was next, and then Muhammad Sakur. Manowarli, I'm coming to you, and Jacob. So let's first go Ali. Can you unmute your microphone and ask your question, please, Ali?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. You can
Abdullah?
you can unmute your microphone. You can put on your camera if you want to. This is an open Q&A session.
No, no, it's
Some
okay.
people
It's
are
okay.
camera shy, some is not. It's up to you.
No, no, it's okay. It's totally fine of me actually. Can I just ask for the one question? Tomorrow
Mm,
is Shoykot is available for your session? Shoykot for Bangladesh for
sorry.
ICC panel umpire.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is session.
Yes. Yeah.
Shoykot is available tomorrow.
Yes, he is available. 1800 hours South African time. If you are in Bangladesh, 10 o'clock, 2200 hours Bangladesh time.
That'll be great for me as well. I here to just waiting for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Hopefully I can join inshallah.
yeah.
And today I totally just sit for this my room and watch your just classes. This is a great opportunity to introduce for all of the laws, and
Mm,
it is really helpful for this upcoming umpire who can
mm.
contact for this field whenever a person go on contact for the field. Thank you for the giving me the opportunity, and thank you for the platform as well, Abdullah.
No, you're most welcome, and yeah, see you tomorrow evening. And yeah, we have SciCat for 30 minutes. So please, everyone, prepare your questions. You've got 30 minutes, so you can ask SciCat any umpire related questions. He will gladly answer them. Thanks,
Okay, thank you
Ali.
for the thank you.
Let's go to New York. Mohammed, can you unmute your microphone and ask your question, please, Mohammed?
Yeah, hello, Tom. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, Mohammed Sakur, I
Uh,
can hear you loud
uh,
and
uh,
clear.
Salam alaikum.
Salam, my brother.
I put it in the chat box, Tom, but Abdullah, but unfortunately, I don't know what's going on. You didn't read it. Oh, I make it
I
simple.
didn't, sorry, I
Yeah,
apologize. I did not see your question, but you're
yes, I
live
put it
now,
in
so you,
chat.
you can ask your
Okay,
question live.
okay. It's clarification for myself and my fellow colleague in his class and other colleague as well, who are unfortunately unavailable to attend. Um, the law is saying, Tom, you come out from a no ball, obstructing the field, run out, and hit ball twice. Now, I put it in the chat box so you didn't see it. Now, for a free hit, that's not in the law. How can you be out? Run out, obstructing the field. And I remember you says hit ball twice. Is it the same formality as a you can out from a no ball over?
Yes, correct. That's the playing condition. The playing condition states, and that playing condition is in place for T20 and 50 over cricket. You will not find free hits in Test match cricket. And the playing condition states, on the free hit ball, there are only three modes of dismissals how you can be out, and those are hit the ball twice, obstructing the field, and the run out.
Well,
So exact three modes as per if a no ball was bowled.
well, I had this is a reason why I bring this up. I experienced it, and my colleague and I, after we deliberate, we came up with two ways. That's I just want to verify with you. Run out and obstructing the field. However, I put in my, the chat. Is it on regulation? I know it's not in the law. So that's secondly, it was a T20 match. So we just want to verify. Did I do the right thing?
Yeah, you won't find it in the law because free hits are not
Yes, it's not
part
in the
of the
law.
laws.
Right. Right.
You will find it in the playing condition. So if I'm not sure the playing condition for the competitions in your state, but if you look at the international playing conditions, you'll see it in there, and it covers when the free hit can only be dismissed three ways, which is hittable twice, obstructing, and run out.
Same way as a no ball.
Same as a no ball, yes.
Yeah, but the reason why, like I told you, after we deliberate, we come up to decision out because it was not specified in our playing condition. But based upon what you just said, only T20 and the 50 over. So I have to remember that. So like I said, I hope I do the right thing. Over.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank you, Tom.
yeah,
Thank you,
okay,
Abdullah.
you're welcome. You're welcome, my brother. Let's go next. Noah Raleigh, your hand is up next.
Hello to everyone, and thank you, Abdullah, and your team, Mr. Tom, for
Yeah,
delivering
you're most
such
welcome. Tom is
valuable,
not with us
yeah,
tonight. He'll be back tomorrow
yeah,
evening.
yeah. Thank you for your valuable inputs on this particular course. I have a couple of questions for level two. First of
Yeah,
all,
Ken,
if you have any,
do you mind asking one question? I need to give the others an opportunity. I'll come back to you. Don't think I won't answer all your
okay,
questions. Just
okay,
one per candidate. And if you do have more, I'll come back to you. Like Rifat's got more questions.
okay,
I'll handle Rifat
sure,
when all the other hands I've dealt with. But you can ask one
sure,
question now.
sure, I'll do that. So my question is like, are there any multiple choice questions for level two exams, or they are just the questions which are to be given with descriptions of the answers?
So the level two exam is a theory-based exam. There are no multiple choice questions. What they want to test in level two is, do you know your law? There are no funny questions. There are no trick questions. They just want to know, do you know your law? And they're going to ask you. Let's say for thumb sucking an example. Uh, um, let's say dead ball. There are 14 instances where you need to call and signal a dead ball. Please name those 14 instances. I'm just thumb
I
sucking
know,
an example. Those are
yeah,
the type of questions. There's lots of essay type questions, not one answer question. They want to know, do you know your law? Do you know um, what needs um, what the law wants you to do in certain situations?
so do they need to be answered using the correct technical terms
No,
given?
no. So what will happen is, the we will have international umpires marking your scripts. So obviously, international guys, they are very well versed with the laws. They don't look at or they don't look for answers to be textbook to be verbatim from the textbook. You can put it in your own words. That is actually the best way to put it. I just want to know, when looking at your answer, do you understand? Do you know what you're saying? Are you quoting the law? It does not have to be 100% as per the law, or it doesn't have to be verbatim. Put it in your own words, as long as whoever's marking your paper say, okay, this person knows what he or she is talking about. Put it in their own words, understand what they're saying. This is what the law is saying, so I'm happy to give full marks for this.
Thank you for clarifying, and I
You're
will
welcome.
stay and wait for my second turn.
Yeah, no issue. I'll definitely will promise you I'll come back to you. Let me go to Jacob next. And then I don't see any hands after Jacob. So once we're done with Jacob, I'm going to go to Rifat, and then I'm going to come back to you. So Jacob, can you unmute your microphone
Yeah.
and ask your question, please?
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. I just want to answer that guy who was asking about translation. There's an app that I use when I listen to like IPL and all the Indian guys and all that. I use that app. It's called the speech to text. Once you download it, and then you put a mic on it, and then it's got 57 languages. That app. Hindu is there also. Then you can use that app. Then when you turn it, it translates it for you. And
Okay.
then
If you
you can understand what it's using. Yeah.
okay, if you can put it in the chat box, Jacob. Those that
All right.
interested can go to the app,
Yeah.
and can use it.
On the same note. Okay. On the same note, what is your opinion on this on the boundary when the guy hits a six and then he gets off the field and then skip and catch the ball and throw it on the field and catch it back again? What's your thought on that?
Yeah,
You
we
get
get
what?
guided. Yeah, we get guided by the law. We follow what the law say. The lawmakers, the cricketing committee, they look at these things. They've just amended the boundary catch law. Yeah, recently. I am very happy with the amendments that they've done recently, where they do allow you. They still allow for those great boundary catches, but they only allow you to handle the ball once outside. Then you need to be back inside. So I'm very happy with the amendments that the cricketing committee and the lawmakers brought to the boundary catch law. It's now into effect a few months now already. So yeah, that's my take on it currently. Yes, it was a bit unfair previously to allow a boundary catcher to handle the ball outside 50 times if UC wanted. I think that was a bit unfair, but with the new changes, I'm very happy with the new changes. It still allows for those spectacular boundary catches to be made, but it do put a bit of boundary on what can be done and what cannot be done. So yeah, that's my take. Happy with the changes that was made recently.
I wish that was done 30 years ago when I was bowling because of
Yeah.
God, he just six.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a
Okay.
lot. Thank you. Cheers,
Yeah,
mate.
you're
Bye bye.
welcome. Okay, bye. I don't see any other hands. I know Rifat had more questions, and then there was someone else that Manoa Raleigh also had more questions. I don't see Rifat's hands raised, but Manoa Raleigh, over to you. Can you unmute your microphone? I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Manoa Raleigh.
Absolutely
Yeah,
perfectly
so yeah, you can
pronounced.
ask your questions, and then I'm going to go to Rifat. I see Rifat's hand is raised.
So my
But
second
first, you.
question is, yeah, my second question is whatever is being covered by you and Tom during this level two, now you are not going into the subsections of any laws. you are picking up some main headlines of some of the sub paragraphs of sub laws into that. Are they the ones will be the part of exams, or it will be full 42 laws
No, so
that they,
yeah, so we carefully selected the content that we are covering. So all the content that we're covering, the exam is based on it. You will not after the exam say, yeah, but Abdullah and Tom didn't teach us this. We are covering every single aspect of the exam in the content that we are covering. So yeah, you don't need to worry if you just study the content that we covered in this, and the slides that Tom has sent you. That is good enough for you to pass this exam. No need for you to study the whole law book.
thank you very much.
Just study the
It really,
content. You should pass
yeah,
the exam easily.
thank you very much. That really means a lot for us. I think so for every participants over here.
Yeah, I mean I mean, how many pages in the law book? We can't expect you to. Yeah. No,
Yes,
that's not.
there
Yeah, that.
there are places whereby they don't like select the sub laws. They just say you just read all the 42 laws and be prepared for the exams, and
Yeah. Okay.
they
That's
make
not.
the
That's not.
life so miserable.
Yeah. No, that's not. Yeah. So this is only
Thank you
level
very much.
two. Obviously, the higher you go, the more difficult this is gonna get. But this is only level two. So I mean, we're getting people into umpiring. We want to get more umpires. We don't want to chase people away and say study the whole law book for the exam. No, we try to help. Yeah.
There are some boards they ask questions as if you are giving the you are doing the PhD for that subject. But anyways, thank you very much, sir, to clarify it, Mr. Abdullah.
Okay, you're welcome. No other questions? If not, I'm gonna go to Rifat. Rifat, can you unmute your microphone?
Thank you, Abdullah. I have another question about penalty time. Abdullah, you mentioned that uh, in top order batsman, especially opener, might have pay penalty times. Suppose you told that 9 wicket down, but in fielding side, opener, an opener goes out of the field. Suppose 30 minutes you told, and you told that 5 quick wickets. If 5 quick wickets down, then the opener will come. But what happened if the wicket fall regularly in time? Suppose the opener paid out of field for 30 minutes. When they batted, the opener pays his time 28 minutes and 5 wicket down. What will happen if he can bat, or he have to pay another 2 minutes?
So if they five down, he can come back, even though he owes 2 minutes. But they must be five down. And in your example, because they five down, the law allows him to come back. Yes, he owes
Okay,
two
you
minutes, but he can come back because they five down. If they
you
were
mentioned
only four down, he had
okay.
to wait that 2 minutes. But because they five down, he can come back.
Okay, you mentioned 5 quick wickets. Quick wickets. That's why I'm asking for clarify. I know it very well.
Hmm.
That's why. And another question is about leg by. You told uh, wh- in leg by there is many many way to signal leg by. You told ball he can hit helmet, pad, or any other part of the body. But when no shot will play, then dead ball will count. Suppose one baller bowled and batsman will not attempt to play any shot. Ball hit the pad and go to the third man. Uh, you told the batsman can run. Batsman try to run one, and then the umpire calling signal dead ball. But if what happened if the batsman trying to run and run out, is there any run out is applicable or ball will dead?
So, Rifat, that run out must happen before the first run is completed. Only a small window period for the fielding side to run the batters, either of the batters out. It must be done before that first run is completed. So, two examples. As soon as that first run is completed, the ball is dead. Nothing can happen after that, so no run out after that. If they still, second example, if they still busy with that first run, and let's say no shot, the ball hits the pad and ricochets to the point area. How they run, point runs around, pick up the ball, and size at let's say the bowler's end. And remember, they're still busy with that first run. Size at the bowler's end and hit the stumps with the striker a meter short. So remember, they're still busy with the first run. They didn't complete the first run. When the stumps was hit, the striker was a meter short at the bowler's end. In this example, striker will be out run out because the law allows for a run out to take place only in that first run.
Okay,
Understand? Happy,
yes,
Rifat?
yes. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Abdullah.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Are there any other questions?
No, I have no question. Tomorrow, speaker will come. I will ready for question for him.
Yeah. Get all your questions for Saikat. Remember, it's only got him. We have him for 30 minutes, and we will only allow one question per, per attendee. So please don't. If we have more time left, we can then go back to the same person to ask more questions. But if we have 50 people wanting to ask a question, we're gonna go for the first come first serve basis, and once half an hour is done, we will stop. It will be 10 o'clock in Bangladesh tomorrow evening, so we don't want to keep Saikat for too long. So I asked him for 30. I'm gonna keep to my word. Unless Saikat tells me, Abdullah, you have a few more minutes, then I'm happy to go on. But yeah, and also remember because it's 10 o'clock in Bangladesh, we're starting off with Saikat compared to Palika last week, which we did at the end. So we first had our lecture, but now for tomorrow, because we're kicking off with Saikat, so we cannot go too much over time because we still need to do our lecture, and we don't want to go deep into the evening, especially you staying in Bangladesh. We don't want you to still sit in a level 2 lecture at 1 o'clock tomorrow on Friday morning. So we're going to try to stick to 30 minutes with Saikat tomorrow, and then after that we're going to go into our lecture covering the laws for tomorrow evening. But what I can tell you is, I mean, Saikat is absolutely amazing person. I met him in 2024 while while Tom and I were in America. He was obviously at the World Cup, and that's where I met him. And an absolutely amazing person. I sat in his company. I didn't want to leave his company.
He's a good umpire. I know also. I am a working journalist, a sports journalist. I saw him in press box, and I saw many years before. I thought that Saikat will go to ICC panel because he was doing very well in domestic cricket.
But anyway, okay, yeah. So keep your questions one, please, per attendee, and keep him for Saikat. We have him tomorrow for 30 minutes.
Okay, Abdullah, I have I am trying to enter BCB for umpiring, but I have passed level 1 from South Africa. Still, I cannot enter the BCB and not any umpiring. That's why I am so much frustrating. I am planning to go South Africa for umpiring and to career of rest of my life. If at this moment if I go South Africa, can I able to umpiring?
So Sandeep, what are you asking? Are you asking you would like to come on exchange to South Africa?
No. I am asking to go for umpiring and as well as for my better life. Both. Umpiring
So
is
are you,
my hobby. Umpiring is my hobby, and it's obviously I have a goal, and as well as for to develop my life. Thus,
yeah.
I am planning to go South Africa.
So you're
If I go
planning to move to South Africa? Is that what you're saying?
yes.
And
If I
then
go
when,
there,
yeah,
if
if
I
you
go there,
come,
can I? If I go there, can I able to umpiring in South Africa? Because I
yeah,
have
of course,
level.
yeah, of course. Wherever you settle, let's say you come and settle here in Cape Town. Yeah, of course, you can come umpire here in Cape Town. We all start off with club cricket, and you can join the local association here, which Tom and I belong to, and you can start umpiring club cricket. Of course, you can.
Okay. Take us. Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
Tom. It's 12:15 in Bangladesh.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We see you tomorrow in our session tomorrow. If there are no further hands, I don't see any hands. I I did see a question from Sandeep in the chat box. Sandeep about impact subs. That's impact subs is only allowed in the IPL. I don't know of any other competitions that allow impact subs. I'm not. It's part of their playing conditions. So Sandeep, I don't know how the IPL impact sub playing condition work. So to answer your question, what is allowed, what is not allowed, how it works, I don't know. I haven't read the IPL impact sub playing condition. They the only competition in the world that allows it. So yeah, I'm not able to answer that question, unfortunately, Sandeep. I don't know how it works. So if there are no further questions, comments, thank you so much. I will see everyone 1800 hours South African time tomorrow. And as I said, the format will be that first half an hour will be we'll have Psycat to answer all your umpiring related questions. And then we'll say goodbye to him after half an hour. And then Tom and I will cover the laws for tomorrow evening. So everyone, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll looking forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. Okay, bye everyone.
Hi, Abdul.
I see this hand raised. Honor Wali, do you want to ask a question?
It was by mistake, and thank you all for it. Thank you, and have a good one.
Sorry, I'm not able to hear you, but I don't see any other hands or comments. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye, everyone.